Hi, I'm Maren and welcome back to my channel, Maren Makes It. Today I'm here to do an in-depth guide to LashLinx lashes, including a try-on of different lash styles. If you're not familiar with LashLinx lashes, this is an at-home eyelash extension system. They typically wear for 5 to 7 days and they're applied to the underside of your eyelashes. The glue you use for this is something different than regular eyelash glue. This is a much stronger glue, which allows you to continue to wear them for up to 5 to 7 days. There's a few different companies out there that have created similar systems of at-home eyelash extensions, but today I'm here to walk you through one in particular, and that is the brand called LashLinx. I've been using LashLinx since the brand started in early 2021, so it's been almost a year. I've compiled all my thoughts and opinions over the last year, and I've put them into this video for you. LashLinx also makes some pre-mapped out styles, but today I'm going to be focusing on the lash ribbons. The lash ribbons come in packets like this. You'll need to slide out the individual lash ribbons and then cut off the segments that you plan to use. If it feels like there's a lot of options when you go on the website, that's because there really are. Between different styles, colors, curls, and lengths, I calculated there's 101 different options of lash ribbons to order. But don't worry, I'll go over everything in this spreadsheet in the next few minutes of this video, so just stick with me. All right, these are the 3 styles of natural lash that I currently have in my possession. The N stands for natural in the LashLinx collection. The V stands for volume. I have ranked these natural lashes from what I think is the most natural looking to the most bold looking look. So I think the N5s are the most natural, then the N3s, and then the N1s. There's also the styles N4 and N2. So the N4s I would put under N5 right here, and the N2s would be somewhere between N1 and N3 in my opinion, right about here. The N2s are a little bit more of a spiky look where it's not consistent, the amount of lash fibers all the way across. And the N4s are going to be the most sparse in terms of number of fibers for a really natural look. The other thing I think you can see here quite clearly is that the N1 and the N3 use a different type of fiber than the N5. So the N5 has a round fiber, and then the N3 and N1, as well as N2 and N4, have what's called a flat fiber. If you think that's super confusing and you're looking at these and thinking, what is flat about them? I'm confused, Maren. You're not alone. It took me a while to figure this out too. What it refers to is the shape of the actual individual fibers on the lash band. If you're still thinking, wow, well, that sounds interesting, but what's the significance of that? The significance of that is that it changes the look a little bit. So the N3s and the N1s have a little bit more of a blunt end, and the N5s have a tapered end. So I'm going to scroll in and see if you can see this. If you look at, for example, the fibers all the way on the left on the N3 and the N5 ribbon, see how that one on the N5 kind of ends and it looks very wispy versus the N3 looks a little bit more blunt, like it just stops right there. That's the difference between the round and the flat fiber. In my opinion, this ends up creating a look that's more bold with the N3s compared to the N5s. In a lot of other ways, the N3 and the N5 are actually very similar. If you take a look at the lash band, you can see that the spots where you'd be cutting, where there are no lashes, is actually about the same distance apart. The way that the fibers are attached to the lash band is also quite similar between these two styles. You can see that they're kind of in little clumps and then they form sort of a crisscross shape, and both of these styles do this. The difference is really going to be in the fiber. I'm also showing them in the exact same length here, so these are both 14s, so you can really see the difference. In my opinion, the end result of this difference in lash fiber is that the N3s are a little bit more bold looking than the N5s. It looks a little bit more like you're wearing mascara as opposed to a natural lash. However, I still think both of these are very natural looking styles overall. If we now add the N1s into our comparison, you can see that the N1s, the shape of the lash band is a little bit different. So the clusters are going to be closer together. So the distances where you'd cut them apart is much closer together than on the N3 or on the N5. This isn't really a problem, it's just something to note. I will a lot of the time skip every other spot, so like I wouldn't cut here, but I would cut here, and then here, and then here. It does end up changing the look a little bit. It's a little bit more of a fuller look. If you look at the area of the outside here, like right here, you can see that there's going to be more volume maintained throughout the outside of the look, right? Those are the tips of the lashes. If you think about where that would fall on your eye. Another thing I thought would be interesting to do here is to compare some regular false eyelashes to the lash ribbons by LashLinx, since these are something you guys are probably more familiar with. This is the style Shy by Kiss. This is a very popular, very widely available false eyelash. If you go to the drugstore, I can almost guarantee you that any drugstore will have these. It's also one of the most natural looking false eyelashes out there. That means that this is also one of the most narrow bands for false lashes that I've ever seen. One question that people ask me a lot when I'm wearing these is, does it feel like I'm constantly wearing false eyelashes? And the answer is no. False eyelashes can feel kind of heavy on the eye, whereas because these at-home lash extensions are attached to your actual lash instead of the eyelid, it feels very different. That being said, I wanted to compare the two side by side so you could see. So as you can see, the Shy by Kiss has this kind of thick black line which makes up the lash band, versus the Lash Ribbons by LashLinx. They have this really narrow band which basically just looks like a line. You need a little bit of a wider band for regular false eyelashes because they're meant to be taken on and off multiple times. Also, they're being applied to the skin of your upper eyelid as opposed to the lashes themselves. So it's a different product for a different application method. As if those natural lashes didn't give you enough options already, I'm now going to show you the volume styles. So there's only two. There's V1 and then there's the V1 that comes in brown. V1B is going to have a mix of brown and black fibers on the lash band. I think you can kind of see this pretty clearly in this shot. It's a pretty subtle effect because it's a mix of brown and black, but it's a little bit more natural looking than just black, especially if you're somebody with lighter toned hair. The V1 regular is the same exact thing, just with all black fibers. Now let's compare this to our N1. So I said that was the most bold looking of the natural styles. You can see here that the V1 has a lot more density of lashes around the lash band. I'm talking about like right in this space here. See how much darker it is even on those V1Bs? It's going to create the look of more volume. The volume lashes actually use the round fiber, which is the same as in our N5 style. So I'll put them side by side for you here. So you can see the volume 1 is almost like a bolder version of the N5 in my opinion. And if you compare it next to the N3, you can see that N5 and the volume have those tapered ends as opposed to a more blunt end. An additional note I want to make about the flat versus round fibers is that I find the flat fiber lash styles are much easier to clean than the round fiber styles. So if you didn't know, with LashLinx and with most at-home eyelash extension systems, you can actually clean and reuse the lashes if you're willing to take the time to do it. However, not all styles of lashes and not all brands hold up equally well to the cleaning process. You're going to be using isopropyl alcohol to clean and sanitize the lashes. However, I found with some brands, not with LashLinx so far, but with other brands, that the isopropyl alcohol actually ends up dissolving the lash band itself. Another problem you can run into is that while the lashes might wash well, they completely lose the curl in the process. I have found with the more delicate fibers on the N5 and the V1 styles that I have to be careful about how long I leave them in the isopropyl alcohol for, which can sometimes make the glue harder to get off in my opinion. The round fibers are also more likely to uncurl themselves. I have some segments of lashes with the flat fibers that I've probably reused up to 5 times just because they hold up so well to the cleaning process. I just wanted to mention this because I think it's something to take into account when you're considering the cost for the different lash styles. I do think though that even though these are marketed as a volume lash, you do still maintain a really natural look overall because you have the round fibers and also especially in the option with the brown fibers mixed in, especially if you have lighter hair. I've had people come up to me and ask what I did to my eyelashes or if they were regular extensions when I'm wearing this style. It doesn't feel like it's over the top or the look of, wow, they're wearing false eyelashes when I have these on. I know how confusing and overwhelming it can be to have so many options, so I summarized everything in the spreadsheet that I showed you earlier in this video. You're more than welcome to take a screenshot of this if you want, so you can reference it down the line or when you're placing an order. I started with what's the most natural looking, in my opinion, and then worked up to the ones that are the most bold. All of the lashes come in black, N5 and V1 also come in brown. For the volume style, this is called V1B and listed separately on the website. Flat and round fibers, we already talked about a bunch, so I'm not going to cover that again. Lash thickness refers to the individual eyelash fiber thickness, and this is going to be in millimeters. What does the number of lash segments mean? It means the width of the natural cutting points or gaps on the lash ribbon is smaller when the number of segments is higher. All of these lashes come in a C curl or a D curl, which I've actually made a whole video about if you haven't watched that one yet, I'll link that one down below and you can watch that one next. I also want to mention that all the lashes are vegan and cruelty-free, which is awesome. Length and thickness are measured in millimeters. All of them start at 8 millimeters and then go up to 18 millimeters, which is so crazy long. I think I'd look like one of those penguins with feathers coming off of its eyes if I had these on. I'll insert a picture of the type of penguin I'm talking about here. Apparently it's called a rockhopper penguin, I just learned that. Here's one more comparison chart that I wanted to insert of what the different styles look like on my eyes. I hope this video made it a little bit less overwhelming to approach doing your own eyelash extensions at home. You have lots of great options with LashLinx, that's for sure. And if you want to try any of them out, I do have a code, it's Maren10. You can use that code and my link down below to get 10% off your entire order. There's definitely a bit of a learning curve with doing your own eyelash extensions at home, but I promise you guys it's worth it because it will save you so much money compared to going to the salon regularly and keeping up with professional eyelash extensions. Let me know in the comments down below, which style do you want to try first? Which one was your favorite? I'm curious to hear your guys' experience, and I would love for the comment section to be a place where we can have a dialogue about these eyelashes. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to put a few videos on the screen that I think you might like watching next. Until next time, bye!